And we're going to give you guys all those juicy details that you're curious about. We'll tell you what movies made the most money, maybe what movies were the biggest flops. We'll talk about the studios, to get into the studios that made the most money and what were the biggest earners for them. But we also have to crown the winner of our box office drafts.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, we do our research. We look at the upcoming year's slate of movies that are coming out, and we try to pick the biggest movies that are going to drop that we think are going to make the most worldwide.
It tests our pop culture knowledge, and then make sure to look out, because in the next week after this episode comes out, you should see our box office draft for 2025, where we'll pick 5 movies, and then we talk about it all year.
It's going to be this whole event too, The winner and champion of the 2024 box office draft for Backseat Directing is... Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we're doing a 2024 box office review.
2024, 3, 2, 1, action.
You're a nerd.
That joke just keeps getting better with time.
I think it's getting worse, actually, because you had to restate 2024, and it was like, oh, what is this guy doing? He just said 2024.
Just to make it extra clear. So today we're going to talk about the box office from 2024. We're going to unbox the box office. And we're going to give you guys all those juicy details that you're curious about. We'll tell you what movies made the most money, maybe what movies were the biggest flops. We'll talk about the studios, to get into the studios that made the most money and what were the biggest earners for them. But we also have to crown the winner of our box office draft. So we're going to be talking about a lot of it through that lens and angle, because if you're new to the show and this is your first episode, or if you catch them here and there, you might not have noticed, me and Aaron do a box office draft we have for these last 2 years, 2023 and 2024. We each pick a team of 5 movies, and then at the end of the year, when the box office has wrapped up, we talk about who made the most money with their team of 5, and they are the winner. So it's those 5 movies' total worldwide box office gross using IMDb to calculate the total sum earned by that team, and whoever has the most money at the end of the year wins. And today you guys are going to find out who that is.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, we do our research. We look at the upcoming year's slate of movies that are coming out, and we try to pick the biggest movies that are going to drop that we think are going to make the most worldwide.
It tests our pop culture knowledge, and then make sure to look out, because in the next week after this episode comes out, you should see our box office draft for 2025, where we'll pick 5 movies, and then we talk about it all year.
It's going to be this whole event too. We're going to dress up nice. We're going to do a draft. It's kind of like a football draft or a schoolyard draft. We've done multiple drafts on this show, but the way that this works is we just flip a coin, so he goes first. Andrew always wins. I think it's rigged. So Andrew went first, then I went, and we just go back and forth until we pick the movie. So if Andrew picks a movie, it's off limits. I can't touch it, and vice versa. And we go until we each have 5.
I want to get right into talking about this year's box office earnings. I do want to say, make sure that you like this video, make sure that you hit that notification bell and the subscription button so you keep up with all of our awesome content. And please, if you play this game at home with your friends, because we just started a couple of years ago, we didn't get it from anybody else. I'm sure other people have played it before.
No. We invented it.
But play it at home and let us know what movies you picked. It'll be fun for us to go back and forth with you. Join the Discord and we can chat about there. The link will be in the description of the episode. But we can chat about if you pick at the beginning of the year along with us and solidify your list in the Discord so that nothing can change, then we'll see who comes out on top.
If you have even teams, it's fun throughout the year. And if you don't, it's fun for one person.
Well, in 2023, you had Super Mario Bros. And I was hanging my head for the first half of the year.
2023.
I thought I had no shot.
2023 was interesting. We will kind of recap what we did that year too, but first we're going to get into crowning this year's champion
Aaron, would
of
you go
2024.
Would you announce that for us?
Yeah. So again, we picked we each picked 5 teams. The total of the movies that Andrew picked, or actually, let me, Okay, let me start over. So the total of the movies that Andrew picked came out to a budget of $940 million. The 5 movies that I picked had a budget total of $813 million. So Andrew was cooking with a little bit more money over there. The 5 movies that Andrew was able to
Acquire.
secure onto his team are Despicable Me 4, Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, and Mufasa the Lion King. Aaron's team, myself, had Inside Out 2, Joker Folie à Deux, Kung Fu Panda 4, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Furiosa, a Mad Max saga to round out my team.
So make your guesses in your head now. From what you've heard about those movies, what you know, guess who you think is winning. Think about that before Aaron does further announcements.
Coming in with $3,947,429,557, the winner and champion of the 2024 box office draft for backseat directing is Andrew D. Christina!
Boom. The trophy. To the winner goes the spoils. Look at that. This was, I want to give credit where credit is due. Go ahead. Neat, please, on your knees. This was made by our friend Keegan, our good friend, who made it for our Letterboxdies at the end of the year. I'm repurposing it now as the 2024 box office trophy. Aaron, I do have another surprise for you.
Oh, God.
This is for you to wear for the episode. It says second place on it.
What was it?
You want to explain why that's...
You asshole.
I'm not knocking over the set.
Fuck you.
That actually belongs to Aaron, by the way. I can't stop breaking your words.
This medal right here is my second place medal for weightlifting state championship this year. Thank you. This has been a year of second place for me. I'm going to have it facing this way because it's too painful
Empty
to
is how you
represent both second places at the same time.
I also thought it was a little bit unfair that I won in 2023 and 2024, and I only had one trophy, so I also pulled this out for myself. This was the most ornate medallion that you had in your garage, so I figured I would adorn myself with this. Maybe this and the trophy here by my side, just to remind the audience that I'm not the one-time box office winner, but the 2-time reigning champion of the backseat directing box office.
That's Brooke's medal.
Oh, well, thanks. Brooke. It spins. She's going to have to win a box office draft if she wants it back.
This episode is quickly declining on my list of favorites. Okay, let me pull up a graphic here so everyone can see how our movies did. So we have it on screen now. Andrew, do you want to go over your list and how much money each of those movies made?
I would love to. So for Andrew's team, my first pick of the draft was Despicable Me 4. On a budget of $100 million, that movie grossed a whopping $969 million. You know, like a 900% return on investment.
Here, before you go to your second, actually, let's go in the order that we drafted it.
Oh, so you...
I'll go in. Okay. So next, for the second pick in the draft, for my first on my team, I got Inside Out 2, which ended up being the highest grossing movie of the year at $1.7 billion.
Which actually makes this kind of the smartest pick from the entire draft because the first movie you drafted was the highest movie of the whole year.
Yes.
And I could have drafted it because I picked before you.
Right. But then the rest of my picks just went very wrong.
Decreased your stock value. So that's
very wrong.
The third overall pick, and Andrew, my personal second pick of the draft was Deadpool and Wolverine. I think a very smart pick at the time and proven to be. On a $200 million budget, it earned $1.338 billion.
Yeah, and at the time of filming this episode, when we did those drafts, it was early January. I wasn't 100% sold on if this movie was for sure going to come out this year or not. We've had a lot of trouble with superhero movies coming out on time when we were doing this draft, and the superhero genre really like screwed me over the year prior. So I felt like this was a wild card in a way, just because of where Marvel was sitting and
just so you guys know, we do pick a sixth bench player. So if Deadpool and Wolverine for any reason didn't come out, I would have had to roll in my sixth bench player, which was Sonic 3, which did perform pretty well, but you don't want your second pick to be replaced by your sixth pick.
Right. So maybe a little bit of risk at the time of picking it, but as the year went, it would obviously slowly decreased in the likelihood of that
marketing for that
happening.
movie was insane. The hype of the marketing was insane.
Yeah, for sure. After that, I picked Joker Folie à Deux. This was again in the beginning of the year. I feel like it was announced already that it was a musical, but I feel like they didn't really there wasn't as much information on it. And the first movie did $1 billion. It's the Joker, so I figured, big fan base. Boy, was I wrong. This movie brought in $206.4 million, which is barely over the budget for this movie. So definitely lost.
And I think
definitely lost money.
I think this pick is kind of mathematically one of the worst picks of the draft. But I also want to say that at the time, I was jealous that you got Joker Folie à Deux and I didn't, because
this is the first time you've ever said that.
Because at the time, I did think it was a good pick.
Yeah.
Because the first one was the highest rated, highest performing at the box office of any R-rated movie in history.
Yeah.
So it looks like a good choice on paper. I was a little bit, I might have even said it in the episode, I was hesitant about the movie because of it being a musical. And I didn't know if it was going to have the staying power that Joker 1 had. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I thought it was a terrible choice.
Yeah.
I think it was risky in the same way you might have thought Deadpool Wolverine was risky. Probably more so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking back, I feel like I should have picked that maybe third or fourth, which is still kind of higher on the team, but not as powerful as second, because I would have definitely taken your next pick if I didn't take Joker.
Which would have been proven to be a good choice. Because my next pick, Dune Part 2, it had a budget of $190 million, just $10 million less than Deadpool and Wolverine's budget, and managed to gross $714 million, which is a really good success for a film like this, a dramatic science fiction movie. So my top 3 picks so far, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, doing very well.
900 million, 1.3 billion, 714 million.
But yeah, Joker, I should have known that you weren't going to pick it anyways because you were so low on the first Joker. You didn't like that movie. Well, so I feel like you didn't want this on your team.
Yeah, maybe
you would have picked it fourth or fifth. If it was still there.
If it was left at fifth, maybe, because like I've told you before, I like to pick movies that I want to root for.
Right.
Like I said that when I picked Across the Spider-Verse in 2023, and that movie turned out to perform pretty well.
Yeah, I gotta remember that this year when we do our draft.
I want to pick movies I picked Despicable Me first. My first and fifth picks, I think, on my list are the most profit-driven, and then everything in the middle is movies that I wanted to root for and I was excited to see.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't hate on the Despicable Me franchise. It's just I like Despicable Me 1, and then I'm kind of out of there.
Yeah, I hear you. So you picked Doom Part 2, which I was definitely bummed that you took that off of the table because I was going to pick that for my third spot if I had Joker, which I did. So I picked Kung Fu Panda 4. I did this because the first 3, kind of like Despicable Me, did pretty well. I think they were averaging 500 to 600,000 in the box office. And that's I feel like a good, strong third and fourth pick. It was getting into the a guaranteed 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And
it performed well.
Yeah, it did. I was pretty happy with the $547.6 million dollars that it made.
It's more money than the entire industry made.
Yeah, I wish. I wish that it was a little higher, but that's a solid pick. My next 2, not so much. Your next 2, pretty decent. I think Mufasa's still in theaters as well, so that could creep up a little bit more.
It's been out a couple of weeks now, so it's
Oh, it's been out?
Yeah, it's been out since Christmas, so
Oh, yeah,
3
yeah.
weeks.
It's been in theaters, yeah. So after Kung Fu Panda 4, a lot of the big hitters are kind of off the board. I have 2 animated movies. You have 1 animated movie. Where'd you go next?
Next, I went to Gladiator 2, on the biggest budgeted movie I had of the year, $250 million, and my shortest return of the year, actually. Funny enough, it came out to $449 million on its worldwide gross, which is still, in terms of our draft, this movie's not that far out of the top 10. I want to quickly go over like the top grossing movies of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
But this movie, Gladiator 2, comes in at 12. It's the only movie that I picked that's not in the top 10 grossing of the year. And I think that what my goal for us as a team is for me to win, but for us to both pick the top 10 of the year to show our like awareness, which also there's a movie.
I really got to step it up. I know. I hear you.
I think you have one that's at like 25, but even still, like one of the movies in the top 10 we didn't know was coming out because Moana 2 wasn't announced at the time of our draft. So that brings Gladiator 2 even closer to being the top 10. It was 11, just barely edging out, like just behind Beetlejuice. So I think my picks came out pretty strong, honestly.
You think my picks came out pretty strong, honestly? My next pick was kind of for a movie that I was also rooting for because it's part of a franchise that I really enjoy all 3 of those movies, and that was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But it only brought in $397 million, and I feel like anything under 5 is just not enough for the draft, you know?
Well, I have 2 under 5.
Okay, anything under like 4 is definitely not enough. But what I'm shooting,
5,
I'm shooting for is to get all of my movies 5 and above.
Yeah,
you know, like that's what I'm trying to get when I'm picking these movies, and it just didn't have the power of the first few. I think the last 2 did more than this.
Only 2 of your 5 succeeded that goal. I know. Your movies did you dirty.
One of them did it 3 times though.
Yeah,
I'm glad that I at least got the highest grossing movie of the year to show that I'm not completely incapable of picking movies.
I guess I had the highest grossing last year because Barbie overtook Mario, right?
Yeah, we'll pull it up later. Man, okay. I picked Kingdom Planet of the Apes, and you got in your last place spot.
I have Mufasa the Lion King, which, like Aaron said, still in theaters. I think it's kind of petering out in its return, which is kind of disappointing for the Disney live action totals. This is lower than usual, but they spent $200 million to make it, and they earned so far $476 million. Kids' movies tend to stay in theaters a little bit longer, so who knows? Maybe it'll come up past 600. But traditionally, the live action movies do like $600, $700, $800 million numbers as like their lowest. I think Ariel, the Little Mermaid, was like 600, and that was like the lowest performing one.
Was it? It was on my team last year, so I can pull it up right here.
Yeah, it was definitely 400 to 600. It was like not that disappointing. It was at least 4.
It was 560.
Yeah, almost 6.
And that was the lowest at the time. All of the other ones, except one, I can't remember which one it was, but there were 6 before Ariel. 5 of them made over $1 billion, and the other one was in 900s.
I'm shocked to see that the Mufasa IP would do less than the Little Mermaid one did, because there was so much controversy surrounding the Little Mermaid movie.
Yeah, it is surprising, but like you said, it's still in theaters, so maybe it'll grab a few more.
But we can do the box office because I can't get less money. You know what I mean?
Furiosa, Mad Max Saga is what I rounded out my team with, and it was the nail in the coffin. I should have known better going with a female-led movie. I had faith in the moviegoer community, and they all let me down. You know, I really thought that we were different as a country, as a world, and that we can go and support these female-led movies, and we just couldn't. It brought in only $173 million, which is like $5 million more than the budget. Oh, so brutal.
So maybe we can get like a close up of Aaron's face for this. Is this does this have the box office draft like on there? Are we small?
Not right now.
Okay,
I just switched it over.
We're big. Okay,
we're big.
So just take a look in Aaron's eyes as his soul dissipates. Because one thing I wanted to do in this episode that I've been personally excited to do all year is talk about how I wanted our picks to all be in the top 10, but unfortunately, Aaron picked Furiosa, which is at, how far down do you think it is?
Well, I think you just said 25.
Further. It's 28. So let's take a look. We'll take a gander back at this last year's movies and talk about all the movies Aaron should have picked instead of Furiosa. Godzilla, X Kong, The New World, Venom: The Last Dance, Beetlejuice, Bad Boys: Ride or Die, Twisters, It Ends With Us, Alien Romulus, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which technically was on my bench, The Wild Robot, A Quiet Place Day 1, The Garfield Movie. Oh, look, 22, your other pick, Joker Folie à Deux. And then Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, If, Red 1, The Fall Guy, and from, I think, like January of last year, the movie for Bob Marley, One Love. Come on, that's fucking funny.
It's not funny.
It's hilarious.
None of those would have helped my team anyways.
They're just movies that would have earned you a little bit more cash. How much more was the Bob Marley biopic?
I should have gotten or picked, like, I should have just guessed that they were going to make Moana 2 a movie, picked Wicked,
and then you would have won.
Then I would have won. Or if I didn't guess Moana, I could have gotten Godzilla.
I didn't even say Wicked.
And then I would have won.
I didn't even say Wicked, but that's another one because Wicked's actually in the 6th spot.
Yeah.
So that's the best one you possibly could have picked, 681 million. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't even say
If I got Wicked and Godzilla, I would have won. Because I'm only... Is that wrong?
$900 million behind.
I didn't update the total on there? Oh, no. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I'm 900 million away from you.
So if you picked Wicked, that would have, instead of Mad Max Furiosa, that'd be an extra, what, 500 million?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you picked Godzilla instead of...
Maybe it wouldn't have put me...
Joker Folie à Deux. Yeah, I guess still not.
Screwed either way.
Man, I think that's so crazy. So I do want to look at the top 10 overall, right, for viewers. So I'll go ahead and read this aloud for you guys. The top 10 highest grossing movies of the year. 1 was Inside Out 2 with $1.698 billion for Pixar, which in a way is also Disney, and that was Aaron's pick. Deadpool and Wolverine in second place was my pick with $1.338 billion. Despicable Me 4 was my pick with $969 million. Moana 2 was not on the board at the time. We didn't know it would be released, so it's $961 million. Dune Part 2, which was my pick, was $714 million. Wicked, which neither of us picked, and I would like to talk about some of the ones we missed, was $681 million. Godzilla X Kong was $571 million. Neither of us picked. Kung Fu Panda 4, Aaron picked at the 8th spot. That's $547 million at the 8th spot of the year. At the 9th spot of the year was Mufasa the Lion King so far, which I picked $478 million. And then at the 10th spot of the year is Venom: The Last Dance, $478 million, followed by Beetlejuice, Gladiator 2, which I picked at the 12th. Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Kings, and you heard me name all of these before, the ones that we didn't pick down the line all the way to 28 with Furiosa. So the ones we missed, Wicked, I never have too much faith in musicals to make a lot of money because I feel like musicals can alienate a certain audience of people who aren't fans of that, unless it's like Disney or Pixar or something. Yeah, Pixar doesn't really make musicals, but unless it's Disney, I think a lot of people will go, to see Frozen or Moana or whatnot. But Wicked did turn out to be a huge success. The Wicked fan base showed up in droves, and then their good reviews and positive energy and the critical reviews of the movie drew mass audiences to the movie, making it 6th highest grossing movie of the year. Awesome success for them. I'm rooting for all of them, for the cast, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, the director, John M. Chu. I think it's awesome. I really personally enjoyed the movie. And in retrospect, I wish I had picked it because it made more money than 2 of the movies on my team. I'm happy with the way my team went because my top 3 movies I picked are my top 3 highest earning, and then my lowest 2 pick are the lowest earning. So it makes me feel like I picked them in the right order. But for one of those bottom 2, Gladiator 2 or Mufasa the Lion King, it would have been better if I had the faith in Wicked. I just saw Wicked as a gamble. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, same. And then I just saw all of your other picks as like, oh, that'd probably make my team too much money. So
you were like, Dune Part 2.
I don't know about that.
The first one did pretty decent for coming out like right around COVID.
Yeah. Which I do want to say, you were not very high on Doom Part 2.
No, Doom Part 1, right?
No, when this was when we were picking our teams, we had just watched, or maybe not yet. Yeah. I don't even think you've seen Dune yet.
So
had you?
Maybe not.
No, you didn't, because I remember you saying after we watched the first one and the second one that if you would have watched the first Dune,
I wouldn't have picked it.
You wouldn't have picked it.
Because I don't like the first Dune.
Yeah.
The second one, though, I'd heard a lot of people saying that portion of the book is a lot more action-packed and a lot better. So I was thinking this movie would do better than the first one and have better reactions. That's just based on like basic kind of word of mouth. So it's kind of partial guesswork.
Just common sense, Aaron.
No, not really. I'm just saying that like I had like faith in it, had a good looking cast, a group of awesome people. They were adding new great actors, and I love Timothy Chalamet. You know, I'm a Timothy Chalamet glazer, self-proclaimed. So I expected this movie to do well. Wonka did awesome in theaters, and so he puts butts in seats himself, plus all the other people.
Yeah, this was fun. I don't know what else you want me to say here.
I've also got the details on the.
Do you want to say, Andrew?
Yes.
That I gave you an excellent box office draft announcement there.
You did. You crushed it.
Yeah, you didn't even say thank you.
The hype was.
You know?
I was. You saw me. You saw how excited I was.
I know.
Yeah,
but that was because of me. I did that. And I want you to remember that. I don't think you would have done the same awesome announcement for myself, you know?
No, it'd be super depressing.
You would have been like, all right, today's winner is Aaron.
No, you got to put on a show for the people.
Dude, I'm going to when I win next year, man, just you wait. Just you wait. It's going to be great.
Keep dreaming, bucko.
So I did see an interesting little fact. We have last year's numbers pulled up. I made this year $200 million less than what I made last year.
Whereas I made...
And you made...
$100 million, almost $100 million more.
Yes.
So I'm learning.
This
I understand it now.
Yeah.
I understand it now.
No. I think the way that quote goes is like you miss the first time. And then you make it.
No, I'm so good at making it the first time.
This is my arc of I understand it now. So you better watch out.
I think you have to make it before you can say I understand it now.
No, because the way the trending videos go is he shoots his shot and misses. And then he turns to the camera and says, I understand it now.
Oh, you're right.
And then he throws it
You are right,
and makes it. So
maybe this is a trend. Now you're right.
This year is going to be my I understand it year.
Yeah, so maybe you're barreling into like now you really are getting things right.
That's right. So that means the Andrew's 2024 team is the highest earning team in Backseat Directing's draft history.
Can you go back to the 2023?
Yeah.
Because the teams we picked last year were both higher budgeted. Interesting.
Yes.
So we picked
by
movies
quite a
that
bit,
spent
too.
less money this year. But some of those budgets were inflated. Like Dead Reckoning's budget got inflated because of extraneous factors. Mm-hmm. And then Fast X budget is just absolutely ridiculous, out of this world. $340 million is stupid.
Oh my God, yeah, that was crazy.
Stupid.
That's like a third of your team this year.
I did want to look at the studios. So some fun facts for the year, now that we're kind of easing out of the emotionally paced part of the episode.
About ready to leave.
Into our statistics. The industry as a whole is estimated to have made around $8.72 billion, off 3% from 2023's $9 billion, so slightly less. If you look at the charts as the year goes along, if you were to put it on a line graph, 2024 started off pretty weak. There wasn't a lot of huge movies making big money until the summer. Dune with its $700 million, which while impressive is not near the numbers we got in the summer, it was at the top of the box office for a while in the first half of the year. Summer started, the box office exploded, and we started to catch up. Not quite to surpassing, like I just said, not quite to surpassing 2023, but getting right up there next to it, kind of basically touching it at arm's length there. We had huge blockbusters over the summer. Aaron's pick of Inside Out 2, my pick of Deadpool and Wolverine, big hits like It Ends With Us coming out, I think, the weekend after Deadpool and Wolverine, because I remember them saying that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were king and queen of the box office at that point. And then, a whole host of other great movies that came out over the summer. Twisters was a huge success at the box office. And then going into like the individual studios details, Aaron, and guess in your head at home if you're listening, or if you're listening with somebody else, see who can get it right. What studio do you think made the most money? If you think about it, though, it's obvious. Like if you get it wrong, you'll kick yourself.
Oh no!
Look at our list.
I'm looking at the.
Look at our list, and then I'll answer it for you.
It's Disney.
Is he correct?
It has to be.
It was Disney.
Yeah.
Because
They have Inside Out, Deadpool and Wolverine, Moana 2. Do they have Wicked or no?
no, I think that's Warner Brothers.
Okay. And then they have Mufasa. That's 4 movies in the top 10.
Yeah, they absolutely crushed it. If you think about it, it's kind of inevitable to be Disney. Thanos reference.
They know. They know.
They
They
own
own like everything.
Because they own Fox, they own Searchlight, they own Pixar, they own obviously Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. So it's hard for them to not be top, even if they're like negative in terms of
Aren't
profit.
there rules
sometimes.
against monopolies?
No, there's not.
What's going on?
Fake
here?
rules.
Yeah.
You haven't watched Heretic? There's a Monopoly joke I was going to make. That's a Heretic reference. So for Disney, the top 3 movies of the year were Inside Out 2, with a domestic 652 million, Deadpool and Wolverine domestic 636 million, and Moana 2 at domestic 403 million. Let's see, 100 plus million hopes. Oh, these are so this is coming from Deadline, by the way. If you want to check this out online, you can look at Deadline's review of 2024 box office for studios. The next studio coming in second place is going to be Universal Studios with a $1.88 billion. Where does that bring them compared to Disney? Disney has
1.88 billion.
yeah, that's their total as a studio. So
Dang.
Disney
So
had,
Inside Out almost made that.
yeah, Disney had $2.219 billion, up 17%. So up 17% from 2023. They made more money. I think Disney kind of had some bad years prior to 2024. They're kind of rebounding. It seemed like they're going back to titles that are reliable, right? See them making Moana 2, making sequels, Deadpool and Wolverine. So they're going back to reliable, well-known IPs, and their announcement for D23 has kind of shown that to be a continued trend. They announced what? Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5, a bunch of stuff like that. Frozen 3, I think. So they're going back to reliable, well-established IPs because they've seen that it makes a success.
I just looked it up. How much money does Disney make in a year?
Overall?
You have any guesses?
So
Like not just their movies, but like Disney.
I feel like I'm going to be crazy under
Parks,
here.
revenue, everything.
Is this profits or how much they make?
Just how much total revenue that they made
Because
in
profits would be a totally different number.
2023.
I want to say 100 billion.
Pretty darn close. That was more actually, but it's $88.9 billion.
Well, my first guess in my head, I'm not gonna lie, was 20 billion. So
Yeah.
I kicked it way up.
Yeah.
Because I know that the biggest revenue for something like Disney is not going to be the movies. The movies are basically for them commercials to sell toys and products.
Isn't that crazy? Your commercial bringing in like almost $2 billion.
Because the profit margin on the movie, while great, is probably nothing compared to the profit margin when they're mass producing toys that cost them $1 to make and they sell for 25.
Yeah.
So their production of backpacks and pencils and
Stupid
stuffed
little
action
things.
figures,
Yeah.
Trinkets is gonna blow them through the roof.
And then of course you have like the parks, and then people go buy more of that stuff.
People think Disney probably makes so much money from their theme park. It's probably so much less than they make for merchandise. Merchandising is probably huge compared. Putting Star Wars World in Disney is basically another attraction, another commercial for selling merchandise.
Right. Exactly. It's crazy. Can't even comprehend that much money.
They're insane. They produced 30 titles this year.
Barely know what $88 is like.
For perspective, I think from the titles released, and I consider myself someone who watches a lot of movies. I think a lot of people would. It's not my full-time job. I still work a regular job, but I was able to watch 57, I think, of the releases last year. Disney alone produced 30 movies, just their studio. So, I mean, there's a lot more titles than 30 that came out, but that is a huge amount of projects for one studio to undergo.
That is a lot.
So
that's hard to manage.
They were drastically in first with their 2.2 billion, followed by and Universal, which had a very successful year with 1.88 billion. I think Universal owns Illumination, so I believe they own Despicable Me 4. Let's look at their top 3. Yep, it was Wicked, 403 million domestic, Despicable Me, 361 million domestic, and then Twisters, 267 million domestic. So everything that has been named so far is not original. Yep. Everything that's been named of these top grossing movies for these studios is not original. Wicked's had movies before and existing stories.
We did a full episode on this actually, talking about the sequel power at the box office and the lack of original ideas and movies being at the top of the box office. There's still a ton of original movies out there. You just got to kind of find them. You got to search for them a little bit more. because the marketing machines of these sequels and franchises are just so big, you know, like you have to think too, if you're a theater, like what are you willing to put in more theater slots? What are you willing to put more times for? Maybe have multiple theaters showing the same movie at once, you know, like what are you willing to put in there to get people to come out and buy tickets for that movie? Because every time there's a movie going on, you know, like, and it's not full, then you're missing out on potential revenue there. So this movie that no one's heard of is coming out for the first time. No matter how good it is, you're gonna want 3 theaters for Moana 2. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and they will. They will
Yes.
get that many theaters to
Yes.
a movie like Moana 2. But interestingly here, a couple other big pictures from Universal include The Fall Guy, Nosferatu, and then some smaller pictures as well with Night Swim, Abigail, and Monkey Man. One thing I wanted to mention to you too while we're going through this is the window that these different studios have for releasing movies on demand. So it appears to me that Universal has one of the shortest ones. Just looking at it versus Disney.
Oh, this is interesting.
Disney's shortest release to streaming is the movie The First Omen at 53 days. And the quickest that Universal released a movie to streaming was a ton of movies at 18 days. So just a fraction with The Wild Robot, Night Swim, Monkey Man, Abigail, Fall Guy, Speak No Evil.
Is that to where you can rent it on streaming?
For some of them, I think with an 18-day window, probably all of these.
Yeah.
I don't have that specifically, but I know.
I mean, that's still pretty crazy.
I know, like when Wild Robot came out, obviously it was only for rent because that's how you watched it.
Yeah.
So for like that example, then
And I watched it a few months after it came out.
so that I mean,
18 days? That's crazy.
that could have something to do with. I mean, obviously there's experts making these decisions. They're better in their field. They know what they're doing more than I do. My guess was going to be maybe that has something to do with them making less money than Disney, because the gap. I mean, the gap is pretty wide. Not saying they could close that gap, but maybe they could make a little bit more money if they waited a bit longer. I'm sure they make these decisions.
Maybe too. It's like because the longer a movie's in the theater, doesn't the theater make more of the percentage of the ticket that's being sold?
You're right.
So maybe they're like, hey, let's try to get this in front of more people while it's getting talked about because it's in theaters and the people that have seen it like this movie. So if we make it accessible for them at home, maybe we can kind of knock in a few more people getting.
I just wonder why the difference
movie.
of opinion from them to Disney, though, because they obviously both have experts making those decisions. The only thing Disney released was at the 53-day mark was The First Omen, which is like a horror movie that probably didn't make that much money. And then these are pretty huge movies with The Wild Robot and Fall Guy and Monkey Man. Those are big talked about movies this year that Universal was sending right to PVOD. So I'm kind of surprised at the different philosophies there between two companies.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, too, The Wild Robot was like $15 to rent or something.
And the longest window for Universal was Despicable Me, which was a measly 34 days, which is still shorter than the shortest. The longest window for them is shorter than the shortest window for Disney. Disney's longest window was 67 days.
I would love to hear their reasoning for that.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you would think they would have the same approach. They're both big studios trying to make the most money with their movies.
Yeah. Keep it in theaters a little bit
I mean,
longer.
granted, the movies that we're looking at from
'Cause
Disney's making more money, so maybe they're keeping them in theaters because they're continuing to make money, and maybe the Wild Robot started to dovetail, and that's why they said, let's throw it on.
But if they have multiple movies releasing at the same date range, that sounds planned, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a trend. It sounds like that's kind of their modus operandi, you know? Like that's...
Yeah.
Because it looks like status quo when you look at it on paper. Like, why is their longest wait time to release a movie on streaming shorter than the shortest wait time on another studio?
Yeah,
So
my thought is like people are gonna rent it after the fact anyways.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what the difference is. Like if in terms of like renting, like if it comes out 18 days after the theaters, how many people are buying it then to rent versus if it comes out a year later, how many people are renting it then? Like is it that steep of a drop off to where it's like, hey, we can't just ride out our theater experience here and then we go over. I mean, that's how it used to be back in the day, right? Like there was movies were in the theaters for 3 months or so, maybe even longer sometimes, depending on the movie. And then we would go to Blockbuster and rent it.
Maybe they're trying
a
to be
year later or something.
Maybe they're trying to be like really effective with their marketing. They're thinking, while we're pushing this on Instagram and TikTok with our ads,
You can get it right away.
Get it on demand so that to get a 2-for-1. You know,
Yeah.
this ad is to tell people to watch it in theaters, and as opposed to having to run a new ad campaign
Yeah.
once you put it onto theaters.
And a lot of times too, I guess those ads are running on your phone or computer, and you can literally just buy it right then too when you see it. You know, so
Yeah,
it's
there's the link.
yeah.
So the next studio that's coming up here is Warner Brothers. My phone's going kind of wonky on me, so I have to scroll back up to find the actual numbers for Warner Brothers. But they're coming in at third place with $1.164 billion. So they're down 17% from 2023. Universal was down 3%. Disney so far has been the only one that was up a little bit. Warner Brothers, their top productive movies were Beetlejuice, 294 million domestic, Dune Part 2, 282 domestic, and Godzilla X Kong, 196 domestic. They seem to be kind of in the middle between the other two studios, with their shortest to on demand being 14 days. That one's very short, even shorter than the other one. But their longest was 46 days, so they're a little bit above. They're above and below on the numbers for for Universal, which is interesting. But some really good movies there. The next studio to come in, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't guess because we mostly only associate them with movies that have been a little bit floppish. But it's Sony with an even $1 billion. And funnily enough, it's also even with their numbers from 2023, not an up or down trend on their earnings.
Interesting.
The
Wonder
top,
how much they spent.
yeah, I'd be curious too. Do they spend more and earn less? Because the profits numbers would be interesting. There's a different source I had that had all that specific information, which was great, but only for 2023. So I just want to only give accurate information. So I didn't want to go to some random website and give you guys BS information. But
What website is this again?
this is Deadline, so they're a big source, and they have really good organization to their information here. I trust it. So top 3 movies for what are we on now? Sony. For Sony was Bad Boys Ride or Die, It Ends with Us, and Venom: The Last Dance. They're basically in tune with the previous numbers for release dates to streaming as Warner Brothers was. Down from there, we're at Paramount with a total of 879 million, 5% over 2023. So they earned more than they did in 2023, but they earned half as much money as one single movie for Disney did with their entire studio, because Disney had Inside Out 2, which doubled their.
Jeez.
That's a flex.
That's crazy.
Their 3 highest earners were Gladiator 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Quiet Place Day 1, which all 3 cool movies. I haven't got to see Sonic 3 yet, but the reviews seem pretty positive. And it looks fun. Looks like Jim Carrey's just having a good time.
Yeah.
We've just got a couple left. Lionsgate is the next one, 252 million. Oof, that's a rough year for Lionsgate. 22 new and carryover movies. So they released 22 projects, 8 short of Disney, and only made $252 million. Wow. They're down 57% from 2023. That's the other studios we're talking about were down like 5% or less.
Jeez.
57%.
This is Lionsgate?
Yeah.
What movies did they have this year?
Their top earning movie was The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, which a lot of people on here probably haven't heard of. It was like a Hallmark Christmas movie. You know, it's like not the kind of movie that you want to be your top earner of the year. And Stranger Things Chapter 1 and Imaginary. I think one of the other titles they released was Borderlands. Yep, it's on here. Which includes $120 million bomb Borderlands that only made $15.4 million domestic and under $40 million worldwide. So this movie made less than $45 million, and they spent $120 million on it. That is a huge loss for the studio.
Yikes.
What other movies did they release that failed for them? Is there even any other details on here? Yeah, it's not looking good. It says near competitor Amazon MGM Studios did a similar box office result off 9 movies. Off 9 movies to their 22.
Yikes.
I think they produced Speak No Evil, I want to say. But yeah, not a good year for them. Oof. They produced Megalopolis. That was another big flop, Megaflopolis. Next year they've got Ballerina coming out. So let's hope that basically they're riding off the remaining heartbeat of John Wick. If we're finding out next year if that's...
They do they do the James Bond stuff?
Paramount? I want to say WB
Lionsgate?
owns. Can you look that up? I want to say WB owns him because I feel like the James Bond stuff is on Max. which Max owns HBO title, has WB as one of their. So Amazon MGM Studios comes up next while Aaron's looking that up. This is the studio that brought us Red One. They made $249 million, down 8% from last year, so much better. They made a similar amount to Paramount, but they only lost 8% from last year, not 51%. Their top earners over there were Red
Eon
One.
Productions.
Eon. There's got to be another, there's a distributor. Look at who the distributor is. The top 3 movies for Amazon MGM was Red One, The Beekeeper, and Challengers. Ooh, Challengers in there. Let's go. And then the next studio after that is A24 at $201 million. A24 is up, baby. Up, baby. Let's go. Up 47% from 2023, which they had a pretty bad year in 2023.
Metro Golden Mayer?
MGM.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make you right. No.
No.
Because MGM's partnered with Amazon now. They've been
Yeah.
bought out by Amazon, I believe.
Because it was Lionsgate, right? That
I don't even
did
know.
so bad.
Yeah. It was Lionsgate.
Yeah,
They did
yeah.
terrible. Yeah, you're right about that. Down 57%. A24 did really well. They had a bad 2023, but they rebounded with positive 47%, up to $201 million on small budget movies. Civil War, Heretic, and We Live in Time were their highest earners. They had a really good year and made some awesome movies. Heretic was really, really good. And then that's the end of my list here. So I thought I had a lot of fun looking at the studios too. I'm glad that we incorporated that as well.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the episode. What did you guys think of the box office draft for 2024? If you want to say congratulations to Andrew down in the comments, let him know how great he is. He doesn't get enough praise, so really help improve his self-esteem and ego. Because he needs it desperately. What was your favorite movie of the year?
Sorry?
Okay. What was your favorite movie of the year for 2024? And then who do you think is going to win next year's box office draft? We're going to be filming that next week. Do you think Andrew's going to three-peat like the Chiefs? Or do you think Aaron's going to come back and win?
They're watching a camp where LeBron James is playing against some little kid with 2 broken legs. And they're like, who are you betting on in this game? Put your money on the line.
You're not even close to LeBron James. Come on.
I'm the LeBron James.
You've won twice.
Yeah.
He's been in the league for 25
Let me
years.
tell you something. 2 finals appearances, 2 wins. It's 100% success rate in the playoffs. 100% success.
There's only playoffs.
That's a higher percentage rate than LeBron has of success in the playoffs. That's a Michael Jordan level of success. 6 for 6. Coming soon.
Did Jordan not make the playoffs and lose?
No, Jordan won every finals appearance.
Oh, finals. Yeah.
That's what I meant. I don't know. I might have said playoffs in there somewhere.
No, I think I might have taken it that way. Anyways, who do you think's going to win? LeBron James or Aaron? Let us know down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscription button and notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes, including next year's movie draft that's coming out here soon. What else do we got?
We got Discord. You can get in there. The link is in the description of this episode. If it's inactive, because it goes inactive after a period of time, message us, DM us, whatever you have to do. We'll send
Just
you
comment on the video.
link. Yeah. And you can join in there. We can chat. We can chat directly with us or other people who have appeared on the show. We like to just talk about movies and mix it up. We've got a good crew in there. We've been doing polls. We've been talking about new releases, talking about our favorite movies of the year. People putting their list of their top 25 movies of the year. So it's very active and very fun in there, especially as of late. So make sure to join in that. Don't miss out. Check out our short form content, which is getting posted daily on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. Follow us on all those. You can rate and review the show on Spotify. It helps the show get out to new listeners.
We forgot to say how much the Discord costs.
Oh, yeah. How much is it?
We do that every episode, and I feel like it'd be wrong to sign off without letting the people know how much money they're about to give us. When you click on the link and join the Discord, it is totally free. Yeah, that doesn't cost anything. Just come and be our friends, please.
We are lacking. That's why we watch so many movies. All right. We really appreciate you guys. Are we missing anything, Aaron, here for the end of the episode?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Andrew.
I will.
It's been a pleasure.
I will see you next year.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
All right, so make sure to check in for that next episode next week when we do the 2025 box office draft. You do not want to miss it, so you can cheer along with us. It's so much fun throughout the year to go back and forth with you. I'm really glad we did this. I appreciate you being such a good sport, and I congratulate you as well. You know,
I have to say, you wouldn't have been as good of a sport.
No, probably
No,
not.
even last year when I was in the lead for most of the year, you were not as good of a sport.
Bro's gonna pat himself on the back so hard he's gonna break his wrist for being a good sport.
Number 2 in the draft, number 1 in the people's heart.
Yeah, but make sure to check out that next episode. It should be coming out next week. Thank you so much for watching, and
That's a wrap.